All right, welcome. Today we're diving into something really fascinating, a metaphysical model of reality, straight from the Quran. We're going to unpack a spiritual framework for existence, from the very source of creation all the way down to the purpose of our own souls. So let's get into it and try to decode what you could call a kind of spiritual physics.
I mean, think about it for a second. What if everything we see and experience, from the laws of the universe to the drama of human life, was all running on a kind of divine source code? Well, this explainer is our journey to decode that very blueprint, a system of spiritual physics that, according to the source material, underpins all of reality.
So, where do we even begin? Well, we start at the top with the first layer of this whole system, the fundamental forces or elements through which the absolute truth actually operates and shows itself in creation.
Now, this is absolutely central to the whole framework. Here, Allah is presented as the absolute truth. And the analogy is just brilliant. Think of Allah as literally being the mathematics of the universe. It's the unchangeable, absolute language that everything is built on. Physics, science, our philosophies. Those are just our best guesses, our human attempts to understand that divine math. So in this model, the absolute truth isn't something we have to prove. It is the fundamental reality that everything else comes from.
So how does that absolute truth actually manifest in the world? Well, this table right here is kind of like the Rosetta Stone for the entire system. It breaks it down into three core elements. First up, you've got light. This represents the absolute truth itself. It's the source of all knowledge, and its agent is Gabriel. Then there's water, which is mercy. It's the element of creation, life, sustenance associated with Mikael. And finally, you have fire. This represents might and wisdom. It's the force of judgment, of purification, and of the great test itself. And its agent starts out as Iblis. These three forces, working together, are basically the engine of all creation.
But here's the thing. These forces aren't just acting randomly. The whole system is built on a really fundamental principle, duality, or the idea of pairs. Nothing exists on its own. Everything has its opposite, its counterpart.
And this isn't just an interpretation. It's stated right there in the Quran. And of all things, we created two mates. So perhaps you will reflect. Now, this isn't just talking about male and female. It's way bigger than that. It's light and darkness, life and death, belief and disbelief. It's these pairs that create the tension, the dynamic, the test that really drives all of existence forward.
And this is where it gets really personal, because this great cosmic duality plays out most critically right inside of us. Within every single human being, there's this constant tug of war. On one side, you've got the ruh, that's the divine spirit. It comes directly from Allah's command. It carries the light, and it's always trying to pull you up, to ascend. But on the other side, you've got the nafs, that's our soul, our ego. It's made from clay and desire, and it is the battleground, the arena for this whole test, constantly being pulled towards fire by the whispers of Shaitan.
So are these two forces, ruh and nafs, totally separate things? Well, the source gives us this amazing analogy, a Mobius strip. You take a strip of paper, give it one half twist, and tape the ends together. All of a sudden, what looked like two sides is now just one continuous surface. The inside becomes the outside, and the outside becomes the inside. That's the relationship here. They aren't in two different realities. They're on one single continuous loop where your highest, most divine potential is destined to meet your lowest, most earthly desire. And all of this brings us right to the human being. We are the central vessel, the stage where this whole cosmic drama of light versus fire actually happens. So what is this human vessel made of? According to this framework, our physical body is basically clay and water. Simple enough. But what makes it special is that it's animated by the ruh, that divine breath, that spark of potential. And this unique mix turns us into a special kind of container, a vessel designed for one single purpose, to see if we'll fill it with light, which is purified truth, or with fire, which is corrupted pride.
Now, to really get the test, we have to understand the agent of fire, Iblis. His story starts as a powerful being made from fire, but he lacks complete knowledge. And his big test comes when he's told to bow to Adam. He refuses. Why? Pride. He only sees the outer vessel of clay, and he completely misses the divine ruh, the light that's inside. Because of this, he's cursed and transforms into Shaitan, the whisperer, whose entire job now is to test the human soul. But get this, the model throws in this incredible twist. The story doesn't just end with eternal damnation. It suggests a full cycle of purification, where even Iblis, this agent of the test, eventually transforms through it all into Mikael, the very agent of mercy. Wild, right?
So to counter this powerful pull of fire, there's a divine counterprogram that runs all through human history, the lineage of light.
You can think of it as a blessed tree of prophets. It all starts with Adam, the first vessel to receive the Ruh. That divine spark is then saved and preserved by Nu through the great flood. Abraham comes and plants it as a tree of truth. Then with Isa, Jesus, that word and Ruh are made manifest for all to see. And it all culminates with Muhammad, who delivers the final guidance, the Quran, which fully reveals and explains the Ruh for all of humanity.
Okay, so after this life, after going through this whole test of filling our vessel with one thing or another, the system lays out two very clear, very distinct paths of return. The soul makes its choice, and that choice determines its final destination.
And that's the ultimate question, isn't it? After this whole struggle, this whole life of wrestling between the Ruh and the Nafs, between light and fire, where do we actually go? What happens next?
Well, the two outcomes couldn't be more different. On one path, the soul is purified by the Spirit. It sheds its earthly baggage, merges with truth and knowledge, and ascends to become an eternal being of pure light. But on the other path, if it's been corrupted and consumed by pride, the soul is stripped of everything, all mercy, all truth, and it collapses into what you could call pure entropy. It becomes the very fuel for divine fire.
And the model suggests this isn't even just a one-time thing. There's a cyclical nature to existence. The Quran talks about 2 deaths and 2 lives, which points to a kind of loop where everything returns to the source. Souls return in their chosen states as pairs, light and fire, before a final resurrection.
All right, let's bring this all together for a final reflection. Why does this whole system even exist? I mean, why would the absolute truth, which is beyond any form or symbol, reveal itself through these elemental signs like light, water, and fire?
Well, here's the answer. These elements, the light, the water, the fire, the Ruh, they aren't just a bunch of random metaphors. They're all interconnected signs. They're pieces of a giant cosmic puzzle. And when you put them all together, they form one single cohesive story. A grand narrative of our origin, our test here on Earth, and our ultimate return to the One.
And honestly, this quote from the source material just sums it all up perfectly. Allah is light, water is His mercy, fire is His wrath. We are clay. Only when touched by Ruh can we ascend back to the light of Allah. That's it. It's an entire cosmology, a whole theory of everything, in just a few lines.
So that leaves us with one final and I think crucial question to really think about. If your soul, your very being, is a vessel that's been placed right in the middle of this cosmic drama, what is it designed to reflect? Light or fire? Because according to this framework, that choice is entirely up to you.